Now, if you're anything like me and you watched Code Geass, you always wanted to play chess like Lelouch. Well, you're in no better luck today because I will show you exactly how to do that. Now, first, I've created an account. It's about 100 rated on chess.com, so I will take you through every single step of the way to get to approximately my current level, which is around 1500, and I will just start grinding from there because I think Lelouch is well above 2000 level. At least I'd like to say Grandmaster, but I am not too sure. So without further ado, let's just jump into a 100 level game and we'll just go through it from there and win some games. So here we go. Now, if you're anywhere near the 100 level, don't even think about playing like Lelouch first. You need to learn how to crawl before you learn how to run. So with that being said, you need to learn the basics, and that's why I will be teaching you step by step on how to play like a beginner and establish those fundamental techniques. All right, so for these, I am going to play 10-minute games. So 10-minute games, and we will see how that goes. All right, so the basic things to do in chess, especially beginner level. Okay, well, game aborted, but we can try again. So the basic thing to do in beginner level chess is to take control of the center. And what that means is basically these four squares, right? So once you know how the pieces move, right, you want to take control of these four squares. Okay. Now, the typical way to do that is either with pushing your pawns, but since he's occupying one square, I can develop a knight, which ultimately controls these four squares. And the center is very important when you're first getting started out in chess because, okay, that's a mistake, but I will tell you why. But essentially, when you control these four squares, you have more options. And that's all you're looking for in the early game, right? So striking in the center. Now, this is a mistake at the 100 level because this doesn't actually defend the pawn. And once you know about checks and everything, if takes, this is already kind of losing because takes and check, right? So, but of course, at the 100 level, you don't need to worry about that yet, okay? Openings come later. For now, just take your knights and your pawns and try to develop in the center. And develop means basically just move all your pieces out. Make sure everybody gets a turn so that your pieces will become more active. Think of them as sending soldiers to the battlefront, right? And a good general rule of thumb after your knights and your center pawns, try to move a bishop, right? So see how this bishop, the dark squared bishop, is blocked by this pawn, meaning that you'd have to move the pawn in order to move the bishop, right? And in that case, like, let's say if my bishop was back here for a second, right? So if I have moved this pawn, I can no longer move the bishop out to the open battlefield, which is, a little bit of a mistake, but nothing you need to be concerned about at the 100 level. The 100 level is simply move your pieces and don't get anything taken in one move, all right? Now, there are some random moves like that. You don't really need to be concerned about them. Once you get your pieces out, right, castle. Castling is getting your king to safety. When your king is safe, everything else follows. Now, this is the classic 100 rated McWaffle blunder, where he just moves a rook, he or she moves a rook, and is taken from can be taken from the bishop. All right, so it's good to know that you can just, since a rook is worth more than a bishop, you can just straight away take the piece. And that is capitalizing on people's blunders. All right, so again, not much to do here. So let's just develop a piece. We're just playing nice and normally. All right. At this level, you just have to make sure that you don't hang your queen in one move, and you will win 80 to 90% of your games just like that. Now, this is a very aggressive move. All right. Now, I do not exactly know what that's going for. Maybe he's trying to go here. So in response, I have no idea what I want to do. So, you know what? Let's just move this knight here, right? Again, probably not the most accurate move, but if I'm thinking takes, right, it's defended. I can take back with the pawn, right? Again, not the best move, but it is a viable move. Now, he's probably going to jump here, in which case I will take, and then he will take. So you have to visualize things like this. If the knight goes here, I take with my knight, and then he goes here, and then I take here. Okay, so he doesn't do that, which allows me to take the free knight. Okay, he takes back. All right. Now you ask yourself, what can I take in this position? Well, let's see. I can either take this, which seems like a pretty good option, or I can take this. Oh, but his queen is defending. But my knight is also defending that square. So this is what I want you to think about in chess. Just do not hang any pieces. That is it. That is all you need to do. So I don't know taking which pawn is better. I'm just going to take this, right? I'm just going to take this just because, it was there. All right. Oh, and maybe I'm now looking at this next, right? Okay. So what does this move do? Right? This move moves here and attacks my knight. I can either move my knight or I can defend it, right? And in this case, I can either move back, like here, whoops, or here, or I can just take this free pawn, right? Because it's free, right? And it also attacks the queen at the same time, right? Again, at this level, you do not need to be thinking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves ahead of your opponent. You just need to move and think, am I hanging anything? All right. A good habit to get into is looking for checks. Is that a good check? Right? You don't necessarily need to move your knight if you can see a check. But this is 1000 rated, so I think I'm just going to take this pawn over here, right? Since it's pretty free. Okay. Now, his position is pretty bad. You can see the material count is +7. Now he's just shuffling his queen back and forth. I do not know why that is. So I'm going to, he probably sees this pawn is hanging, all right? So I'm just going to go back, attack his queen. Very simple moves, right? Just make sure I'm not hanging anything in the process, right? So, oh, and he goes there. All right. So whenever someone makes a move, make sure, what can I take? In this case, I can just take the queen straight up. Okay, and he moves. Now what else can I take? I can eat this pawn. All right, can he eat it back? No, right? That's all you have to do is think about these things at this level. All right, and again, look for checks when they are available and get your pieces, right? Notice that these rooks are kind of dunces. They're not really doing anything. So let's make every piece a part of the army. Enlist everybody, right? If you enlist everybody, they become, useful, and you can start winning games faster, right? So in this case, always look for checks. Where are the checks, right? How can I move my pieces closer to the enemy king? I can go here, right? That's a check. That's a pretty good check, right? So only option are here, here. And yeah, it's pretty much game over soon, as you can see. If you don't know how to checkmate, it's you don't have to worry about it. Just start moving pieces towards the enemy king, right? Again, that was probably, I don't know if that's a fast checkmate, but it is a checkmate, okay? So again, you know what? If checkmate's too hard, just take all their pieces. Can I take that for free? Yes, right? At this point, once you're at like a 17-point advantage, you really don't need to be doing anything fancy, right? In this case, like, it's defended twice, and even if you're not sure, like, let's say you blunder, right? Oops, right? Oh, he can take, right? Oh, that's a mistake. But that's okay, because I can just take this, for example, right? Now, you have to be careful, right? Could they have taken my rook, right? Or I could have taken their rook, right? Anything works, but in this case, that was a little classic blunder, right? Look for checks, right? Just keep checking the king. If you don't know um, how to win from here, just check the king. The queen's defended, all right? Okay, everything's good. And honestly, like, if you don't know your checkmates, don't worry. You can even like go sack your queen. But in case, look for checks. Oops, that happened to be checkmate. Right, 149. Now this is just how you think at the 100 level. I want you to think of one thing and one thing only, and that is just do not hang anything. It it does not matter whether or not you play your best, right? Make sure to look at your analysis after your games, right? You can see here. I'll just show you what I was thinking of, right? This, and if this, right? Because this, you either have to go here, which is a terrible move, or you have to do something like this, in which case, you lose a rook, right? You lose a rook. But if they take, it's a little complicated, right? It might be a little scary. You take here, right? This is somewhat of a position you get into, but it's still winning for you. But anyways, but notice how I didn't go for that. I just developed a second knight. Again, 100 level, center squares at the beginning. Put 2 pawns in the center if you can. If not, then your knights go towards the center. Then your bishop goes out before your pawns, and just do not hang anything. And as you can see, my opponent just hung a rook by mistake, right? If you don't know, what rooks are generally endgame pieces, which means that you want to move them out later rather than earlier. So in this case, their rook was just taken, right? It's just free. A rook is worth more than a bishop. Rooks are 5, bishops are 3 points. All right, so that was a pretty good trade for me. Okay, and that is game 1 on how to play like Lelouch. But in this case, if you are 100, don't even think about playing like Lelouch yet. All right, you're just not good enough, right? Just develop your skills, and again, look at this, right? Hung another knight, right? That's just free knight, right? At this level, don't even care about playing the best moves. Just move. Am I hanging anything? That is all you need to worry about. And don't ever resign. At this level, you could ultimately win a game even from this position, let's say, right? Because okay, maybe not that position, but like here when I blundered a bishop, oh no, right? Like, people are not going to see the best move. It's ultimately not about who makes the first blunder, but ultimately who makes the last blunder. And that concludes our first 10-minute game. Quite an easy one, right? Again, I will show you one principle to get to 500 easily if you are at 100 level, okay? And that's it. We'll see you on the next one.